Hey there, listeners. So today, if our audio by chance sounds weird, it's because Gina spilled wine in our recording mixer.
Well, it was just a little wine.
Really?
Yes.
How do you describe little then?
Well, it was a Petit Bordeaux.
Drink up, listener. It's the Riveted.
With Chris and Gina.
So, Gina, this recording and this episode today is kind of interesting because, like, we're Airstreamers, right?
Yes.
And the people I see out the window, because we're at top of Georgia Airstream Park right now doing this recording, and when I look out the window, I see those people, and they're Airstreamers.
Yes.
And anybody you see driving down the road or at a rally that has an Airstream attached to them, they're Airstreamers.
That's correct.
But our guest this week, and who we have on the podcast, they're actually the Airstreamer.
Oh, they're the Airstreamer.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Airstreamer.
Yes. I like that.
Like
Put the in front of it.
Like we have
the Airstreamer.
We have the listener. We have a listener and the listener. But our guest this week is the Airstreamer.
That's pretty exciting.
Isn't that awesome?
It is. I can't wait to hear from them.
Yes, listener.
But there's two of them. So how does that work out?
Well,
is it like the Airstreamer 1 and 2? Or
it depends on
we'll have to ask them how they work that out.
Yeah, like sometimes plurals are still singular words. You know what I mean? I guess we'll figure that out.
You want me to think about that for a minute, don't you?
Yeah, you know.
Okay, I'll think about it.
But yes,
I like it. Just put the in front of it, makes it more important.
Listener, our guest this week is the Airstreamer. And if you haven't discovered him yet on the socials and on YouTube and stuff like that, you're in for a big treat because we have Jim and Michelle Fisher with the AirStreamer.life website and YouTube channels. Welcome to the Riveted with Chris and Gina, you two.
Hi, you guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. We're so excited.
I'm glad you're excited.
It is exciting.
Thanks for being here with us on the podcast. And I did say that right? Right? You're the Airstreamer.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the is not really in our
title.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
I had to refer.
It goes off of like you're the listener.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We have a listener. Well, I guess you're the listener today, but you're also the guest.
Yeah. Well, I just, when we met and connected through the internet and then looked at, everybody's digital assets and socials and started chatting together and things to get ready to do this recording, I was like, man, you guys picked an awesome name. I mean, wasn't that like, I would have thought that would have been taken 20 years ago. But
I thought so too.
We were surprised it was available.
Yeah.
We were like, what? It's available? Okay.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
That's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you on the pod. And
so now, then, what kind of rig do you have then? If you're the Airstreamer, do you have an Airstream rig or no? I'm just kidding.
Surely to goodness they have an Airstream.
No, they travel around in a bus. No, what I like about their logo and stuff is it reminds me of the Jetsons.
Yeah.
We have a friend that he uses the Jetson kind of look and appeal to some of his stuff. His kids used to call him, what would they call him? George?
They called him George. Jetson.
They just call him George.
But,
yeah.
The everything you guys have done on your YouTube channel, your videos, your website, everything, it's all very well done. And the Airstreamer, title, phrase, description, it's I think it's just perfect for somebody that travels the country and enjoys the Airstream lifestyle and produces Airstream content like you do. So congratulations on snagging that name. It's great.
Well, thanks so much. And then love the mid-century modern kitschy type of look, which kind of embraces the Airstream lifestyle, with the pink flamingos and the whole bit. So I love that look.
Yeah. It's it all kind of blends, and you guys have done a great job.
Well, I think it's catchy, what they're doing. So
absolutely. So where in the world are you right now?
We are in Rufus, Oregon. And we'll be in Oregon, a couple more nights?
Just one more night.
One more.
And then into Washington. So it's we're at a COE park that is totally free. And I mean, the government shutdown is still on right now, but the park is still open because it offers 0 services. It's just one of those dispersed camping free for all, but it's just a big gravel area right on the river that's separating, I believe is separating Oregon and Washington.
Very nice. I would assume like beautiful views.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Just we're in a valley, so there's mountains. I mean, they're really close though on either
Yeah.
side of us. And the expressway is right there. I think it might be 97. That's one of the problems with
It's 84.
84.
Yeah.
Okay. But with GPS and that kind of stuff is you just go where the GPS tells you to, and you don't really think about what road you're really on.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
There's railroad tracks on either side. So there's trains going back and forth all the time, but everything is like far enough away that it's not loud, but it's just interesting. There's always something to watch.
Awesome.
And the trains out west, man, they go on forever, don't they?
Do.
They're the
Yeah, they're
longest
long.
trains. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's amazing when you're driving out there and you see all that flat land and you're driving and the train just keeps going. You think, when am I going to get to the end of this train? And it just keeps going and going. Like, wow.
So we always like to ask our guests, you know, we ask this at the beginning of every episode because it's kind of the entry point to the conversation. Everybody has an entry point to becoming an Airstreamer. Yeah. See, I used their phrase again, Jim.
I got it. I was watching you for that.
That's
yes.
awesome. I mean, it's just you guys may actually have to only be our only guest from now on because
Airstreamer.
Yeah. We're going to confuse our listeners with future guests because if we refer to them as the Airstreamer, they're going to think that Jim and Michelle are back on.
That's right.
Well,
That's
that's
awesome.
one of the things we love about it is it's very inclusive. Everybody who has an Airstream is an
Yes.
Airstreamer and can
That's
be a
right.
part of our, we all are one.
Yeah, that's great.
So how did you guys get started with Airstreaming?
Well, would have been about 3 years ago now, we did a road trip. We're Michigan natives. And so we drove from Michigan to Arizona and back. Our niece was getting married in Phoenix. And initially we were going to fly, but we ended up with time. And so we thought, well, let's do a road trip. So we just loaded a bunch of stuff up in our Jeep and drove across the country doing Airbnbs. I actually I still have a photography-based YouTube channel. So the idea was we'd stop and photograph along the way, but it became less photography and more travel what I was doing. And we just loved it. We had so much fun traveling together and in the small confined space. And actually on the way back, I think we were in Missouri. Michelle, we're in 40, I believe. She looks at me and says, could we travel full time?
Oh.
What would
And
that
your
look
answer was?
Let's talk about that.
Yay.
And so we started. Then all of a sudden your eyes become hypersensitive to certain things when you have a thought. And so all of a sudden we noticed every camper rig on the road. And so as soon as you saw, what about that one? Michelle would look up on her phone all the information about that brand and everything. And we settled really quickly in Airstream.
Well, first of all, we saw one that looked like a chariot.
Yeah, look
And
like
I'm
a
like,
Roman chariot.
what is that?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Base
Yeah.
camp.
Looked
Yeah.
up the base camp, and then it's like, well, that's too small.
Yeah.
And then we saw a Bambi, and I was just in love. And we talked about that shortly but then Jim's like, we can't live full time in that.
Can't
That's
live
too
full-time
small.
in a little silver bubble.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And had you, before you started that process, had you been aware much at all of the brand history or
Not really.
impact?
Not in the depth. I mean, we had a camper when our kids were little, an Aerolite, and we did some extending camping trips in that and hauled that around. And, I guess peripherally you'd see an Airstream at campgrounds, but you never really knew how old they were or what they were. Just they were these mysterious silver attractive things in the campground. And but we started researching the Airstream really significantly on that trip.
Yeah, that's great.
And this trip again was in 2021.
Would have been,
So,
I think 21. Yeah, I'd have
21.
to look
Okay.
up. Yeah, it
Yeah.
would have been in the spring, because we actually went to the Grand Canyon. So we were in Flagstaff, and we got snowed on in Flagstaff,
Yeah.
and then coming out of it, and then and actually a snowstorm chased us, because we drove from Flagstaff, Arizona to Colorado Springs, Colorado in one day.
Oh,
That was
wow.
11 hours. Yeah. And there was a huge snowstorm that was closing the expressway behind us the whole way.
Man.
Wow. It's like you can't stop. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
going to drive out from underneath or away from this thing soon. Yeah.
So what kind of rig did you end up landing with? What do you have?
We have a 28-foot International Serenity, and it is used with a second owner. It's a 2018, but it is absolutely perfect for us. It's just small enough that we can tow it with our truck, and large enough that we can live in full time. Absolutely love it.
yeah, we love we have the front couch, like lounge area, and then the area where you can sit and eat at the table, where a lot of times Jim sits to edit and I work on bills and stuff. And then we have the queen bed in the back.
Mhm.
Good. You got a queen bed.
That's great.
Yes.
So Chris won't give you a hard time then.
Well, we always that's one of our questions, or at least fact finding missions, is we're doing a survey. We're doing a long-term podcast episode survey of how many twins, how many queens with our guests. So you're in the queen camp. Good job.
What's
We have a
what's
queen.
the percentage so far? Do you know?
I believe right now we're over 50% twins.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yep. With guests. It's interesting. It really is.
What's so great is that when we have a guest come on now for the first time and they've been listening to our episodes, some of them are saying, yes, we're the double stackers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. And we have a 2018 as well. Ours is a Flying Cloud. But yeah, the International Serenities are beautiful. And
They are.
very, very.
What's your color scheme?
I don't know what it's called, but it's got the light colored walls and then the chocolate brown vinyl upholstery.
Yes. Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
so it helps keep it really nice and bright and light in here. And with this setup, the floor is a little darker. I know some of the ones that have the darker wood and then they have the lighter floor.
Yeah.
To me, it'd be a little more upkeep.
Right.
Yep.
So
I
to keep
agree with that.
working.
So when you
But
got
yeah,
it, I was gonna say, when you got it, did you immediately go full time?
we decided we were going to go full time, and then we started shopping for the Airstream. We had to sell our house and everything we own, so a bunch of stuff, all the dominoes had to fall in place.
Yeah.
So after we sold our house and then moved into an apartment, which was actually 2 doors down from our house, friends of ours owned a duplex, and so we moved in to the duplex, the other half of it. And we lived in a old town area. It was actually the Old Town Historic District in Port Huron, Michigan. And so we had a huge Victorian house, 3,200 square feet, 5-bedroom house. So it was nice to move into about a 1,500 square foot apartment, 2-story apartment for a while to help downsize.
Yeah.
But then we went shopping for Airstreams. I wanted one that was pre-COVID built, and I wanted the quiet stream ducting. So that put us in an age range of 2014 to 2020, either a 27 or a 28-foot floor plan and east of the Mississippi River, so we could drive and see it. And
Yeah.
that is hard.
I was getting ready to make that comment.
Yeah.
That seems pretty tight
There's a
filter for finding one.
there's a 30-foot Airstream just going down the highway right now. I can see out the window. There you go. Going else, somewhere else. But yeah, so then what happened was I was on the Airstream Addicts forum on Facebook, and anyway, somebody all of a sudden I got a private message from somebody, and he says, we have one for sale, but it's not advertised. If you're interested. And so then he sent me photos, and it was a 28-foot International Serenity, and absolutely perfect. And these guys had bought it new. They were the only owner, and had hardly any miles. I think they used it a half a dozen times. And so the price was right. And I said, "We'll take it." And then 2 days later, he messages me and says, "My partner doesn't want to sell it."
Oh, no.
Oh.
So then we kept looking. I found one out west. It was a 25-foot that had been modified, but then that didn't work out.
No.
But then I found one in Ohio, and it was a 27-foot. It was a year older than I wanted, so it didn't have the quiet stream, but it had everything else going for it. The price was about right. I thought he was a little high, but I said, "We'll do it." I was still working at the time, and it was
both were.
yeah,
We
we
were
were both
both still
working
working.
a lot of hours. And so this was like on a Tuesday. And I said, "I'll be down Saturday and we'll look at it. We'll drive down Saturday and look at it." It's like a 4 or 5 hour drive. And then pay for it. We're a cash buyer because we had sold the house at that point. And so everything is going along good. I'm just finishing up my work day. I pull into a gas station to fill up on a Thursday. And the guy texts me and says, "I just sold it."
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
I was actually really mad because we had an agreement. I said I was going to be there Saturday. He says, "Yeah, these people just pulled in, they had cash and they paid me full price." So,
Oh my gosh.
so it was,
Yeah, so our friends that we were living in the duplex, they lived in half and we lived in half, and we paid them rent. They had a really nice patio out back. So when Jim got home and, told me, we were really frustrated, and we were outside hanging out with them on the patio. We would often, do dinner together or just hang out with drinks or whatever. And Jim was saying it's just so frustrating because we thought this one was going to be the one, and and our good friend Sue, she said, "Well, you never know. You may hear back from the guys that you had talked to previously."
yeah, Northern
Right.
Michigan.
Yeah.
The next day, Friday, he messages me and says, "Are you guys still looking? Because we're ready."
Whoa. That is really cool. It was
So
like it was meant to be to lose out on that other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was absolutely meant to be. And
this one has been perfect.
and
And they
perfect.
were really wonderful to work with. And it's like we got like a brand new camper.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Very cool.
So then once we had secured that, they had it stored in a really wonderful pole barn or garage, and you could eat off the floor in this place. And it was winter, so we said, can we keep it here until we get closer to, because we had nowhere to store it, we had nowhere to put it. So yeah, then we went and picked it up in April and took it on a couple of to try it out, stopped at a few campgrounds for a few nights, and then friends let us park it until we kind of finished up our work, and we're ready to
And
go.
were you guys new RVers at that point? Like, had you ever towed anything else before, or had you RV'd with something else prior, or anything like that?
Yeah, when our kids were young, we had a Aerolite camper that had bunk beds in the back for the kids, and that the table in the front would break down to a bed for us and all. And we took that all over. Again, we were in eastern Michigan, and we had taken it, through, because it's a Canadian border town too, Port Huron, Michigan.
Right.
So we took it across Canada and then dropped that into New York with friends and took it to New York and Pennsylvania and Vermont and
Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's right, because we were outside of Boston.
Mm-hmm.
We dipped it up into Maine, but never stayed overnight. Just enough. We made a little detour so we could say we drove into Maine. So we did that with it. Couple trips to Ohio. Cooperstown, New York, the Baseball Hall of Fame.
And both Jim and I grew up camping, like with our.
That's good.
Good.
Yeah.
So you didn't have any kind of new Airstream owner jitters, so to speak, with regard to just the towing and the moving. You were good with all that. That's good.
Yeah, this is considerably larger than the Aerolite we had and heavier, but the truck that we have is much heavier duty than the truck that we had. They were both half tons, but so we do tow this with a half ton with a Ford F-150, but it's one of those unicorn trucks that has the extra suspension. It's got the cooled transmission. It's got all this stuff. So it is designed to tow something this size.
Right. That's awesome. And I guess have you spent most of the United States? I mean, like, have you been most of the United States in your travels yet, or you still got a lot left to see?
In the Airstream, we have pretty much the central U.S. and the eastern U.S. that we have not been to. So, of course, Michigan, we did our very first long trip we did was to South Dakota and back to establish domicile in South Dakota. So we drove straight across on the east side to the west side of Michigan and then took the SS Badger steam ferry across Lake Michigan and then landed in Wisconsin all the way to South Dakota.
That's fun.
We stayed, Custer State Park there to establish domicile there and then back. So we've been that corridor route. And that was a fun trip because we got to South Dakota. We're both working a lot of hours yet at that point, and we each thought the other had packed the passports, which we needed for ID to establish domicile, and we didn't have them.
Oh boy!
How'd that work out?
Well, again, our friends Gary and Sue came to the rescue, and so I had them go into the apartment. I told them exactly where the passports were in our little safe we had in our office there, and he shipped them to us, priority mail. So then we had to stay an additional 4 days at Custer, and which is hard to do.
Oh yeah, it's tough.
But
yes, it's hard.
The campground hosts, who were also from Michigan there, took a real shine to us and were able to get us in the one overflow spot for an additional 4 days. There's a hidden overflow.
Maybe we shouldn't
say that.
Oh. Yeah. Those are juicy details we like, but sometimes everybody shows up and then we can't make it there anymore, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Pro tip that you don't want to let anybody know about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that.
That's
awesome.
So
thank goodness for your friends.
Yeah. In many ways.
Yes.
And so that, and then when we left, we full time, which would have been in August of 23. That's when we left Port Huron, Michigan, and then started heading south. We knew we were going to winter somehow in Florida, and so we meandered around through Ohio into West Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia, and then ended up in Florida, actually at Land Yacht Harbor for a couple of months in the winter. And then we stayed for a week, though, on the west side of Florida near Tampa. I have a sister that lives in Tampa, so we got to spend Christmas with her. Mm-hmm. She had just lost her husband, and so we got to spend Christmas with her, which was nice. That's one nice thing about doing this is you can connect with family that's around the country. You don't get to see all the time.
That's true.
And you can leave, you can leave when you want to, stay when, you want to.
However,
And it is so funny. Have you had this experience happen as you visited with family where you've got your Airstream in tow and you park and they say, well, you can come in the house. We've got a bathroom and we have a bedroom and
you can take a shower.
You can take a shower. Have you had that happen? It has for us.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
More than one.
It's like they don't understand that we are fully housed and equipped,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
We have adequate shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing we don't really talk about a whole lot on here, but I'd like to with you guys, if that's okay, and that is the process, how easy or how hard the process was for you to make the decision to go full time, and then once you made the decision, kind of, and I don't want, severe details, but kind of like the details of what you felt like was the most important place to start. I know we have a few listeners who we've touched base on some things, and then they've gotten in contact with us and said, I'd really like to hear more about that. So, is there anything that you guys would like to share? You got something, Chris?
Well, and just with that same answer, like, you guys chose South Dakota. What were your logistics for choosing South Dakota?
Yeah, just some pointers or something that worked out for you guys.
That's a good question, honey.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah, that is a good question. I think the hardest part was once you made that decision, okay, this is what we're going to do. And then Jim's always talked about once you've set a goal, then you have to like work back from that goal as to like what you have to do to get to that goal. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Reverse engineer.
Right.
And so, what are the things and kind of a time frame do we think we can do this in? And but so once our mind was set, we were very excited, and I'm surprised that I do not even miss my house. Like, we had so much blood, sweat, and tears into that. I did all the landscaping around the house when we got it. There was like no landscaping. And I had put in garden beds, and I took care of all of the inside of the house, not repairs and stuff. Jim did all that. He painted the house. Every year he'd paint a side because it was a big, tall, Queen Anne, and
six color paint scheme.
6 colors.
Wow.
So, I love that house. And before we even talked about this, I assumed we would live there till, after kids, grandchildren would come, and we'd have Christmases in the house, but that's not what happened. So we made this different, because of things that had happened. We were, I guess, ready. We were ready to say, we want to do something different.
I think we can talk about the things.
Yeah.
That actually led to the decision, right? So it's a pretty radical difference, right? You live in a house for 23 years. It's a house you think you're going to have forever. And it was kind of our dream house. And we fixed this thing up. We helped establish the historic district that we were in.
Oh, wow.
And we think we're going to be there forever. But then life does things, and you have experiences. And my mom, who's still alive, she's 94. But she was starting to show signs of dementia and all. And so we had to have a family intervention. My sisters and I all got together with my mom, and it was obvious she couldn't live on her own anymore. And so anyway, she ended up living with us for a couple of years. Then you've got to get rid of all this stuff, because all her stuff, her lifetime of stuff, can't go into our house. It's just not going to fit, no matter how big our house was. And so then we had to downsize her drastically. And she's a quilter. If any of you are familiar with quilters, it's just another word for hoarder.
Gotcha.
She who dies with the most fabric wins, right?
Yeah.
And
okay.
So it was crazy, and just the amount of fabric. And then because a lot of it had been stored so long, we rented a dumpster, and just all of a sudden you realize you're throwing away a person's entire life, right?
Yes.
You're
Yes.
discarding this. And so then we started looking at all the stuff we had, because we had this huge house and all this stuff. And all of a sudden we realized the attic is stuffed full of stuff, and the basement is stuffed full of stuff, and the house is stuffed full of stuff, and all.
And we asked our kids, do you want any of our stuff? And they said no.
No.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
We did the same thing.
And we realized it was a burden to put this on your kids. If you go through your life and accumulate all this stuff, and then you die, somebody has to deal with it.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't fair to the kids. And so Michelle had just heard of this Swedish death cleansing. And so in essence, that all this stuff dovetailed together at the same time. And it was, I mean, the road trip we talked about, we drove, we decided to travel full time, was right at the 2 year end of my mom with living with us. And so it, um, just kind of led into that we don't want to burden our kids the way
Yeah.
we were all burdened. And we only have two.
Right.
My mom had four
Wow.
to distribute all this stuff and deal with all this.
Do you
And
mind me asking your ages?
our ages,
Yeah.
I am 64.
Yeah.
And I'm 58.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did a early retirement, a little bit forced, but early retirement at 62. So
Yeah.
started drawing Social Security and drawing off the IRA I had set up.
Well, it's just like, the full-time RVer movement, has been around a good long while now, but it, you know, back in the 80s or whatever, before it became popular, when it was just snowbirds, people that would spend a half a year in an RV to dodge bad weather, but they still had a home. Now it's evolved into full on, full-time RVer lifestyles, and it's millions of people are doing it. And age wise, there's a huge fluctuation of ages of people that are full-time RVers. But to hear you describe, we had this amazing, beautiful home, and we had this vision of being in it for the rest of our lives, and then making that lifestyle shift to be full-time RVers. Um, it's not only just 30 something, early 40 somethings that are doing it, and anybody at any age can if they choose to.
They can. And,
Yeah.
a lot of people think about the older generations are doing it, when retirement hits, like, oh, we're going to go travel for a little bit, not necessarily go full time.
Yeah.
But to make that transition into full time, I love hearing why someone chose that. Like, we
Yeah.
know our story, we know why we chose it, but I like to hear, other people's. And that's why I was asking, you guys, Michelle and Jim, because there had to be some kind of thought pattern disruption that, said, okay, hold on a minute, let's think about this.
Yeah.
And, it could very well just have been the moment of having to deal with your mom's, downsizing and changing in her life to say, hey, I want to do something different. It could be that, it could be anything. But yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. And just to say too, that Gina and I are in that exact same position in a way that you are right now, or were. We have that family aspect of Gina's mother that we've got to keep a close eye on, that's going to sneak up on us, just like you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but our kids are grown, and also neither of them have, had at the time necessarily significant others. So it's like, well, there's no grandchildren on the horizon for a while. And so
Yeah.
we might as well go and see some of the country while they're, they're plugged into their communities and they have their friends, and they weren't in our town anymore. And so it was just, the timing just felt right. But we both completely said, if we're going to do this, we're not going to put anything in storage.
Yeah.
Because we had talked to a lot of people who had storage, facilities, and they're paying for that, and they're paying for it monthly. And then even where stories of where they'd go back after 6 or 8 months or a year, and all their stuff was ruined,
Oh,
because
no.
it was mildewed, or,
Yeah.
or something had gotten in. And
Yeah.
so we said, if we're doing this, we're doing it all, and we're just
Yes.
going to be very free. I had to be honest, I had a couple of things that I really could not just make a decision on, because it becomes, well, if you guys did it, there's just so many things to figure out what to do
Oh
with it.
yeah. Yeah.
Paperwork was one of the biggest things that surprised me. Was, whoa, we have a lot of paperwork, just stuff you save because you're like, oh, you might need it for tax reasons or whatever. So we had to get serious about what you really have to keep and what you don't. Um, but a few things that I couldn't make a decision on, my one of my sisters kindly said, "You can box it up, and we'll keep it at my house." So I think I have two or three.
Yeah, like her wedding dress,
Yeah, my wedding dress. I couldn't
Oh yeah.
figure out what to do with my wedding dress.
which Michelle's mom made.
Yeah,
Oh,
my mom
wow.
Yep.
did it.
Yeah.
Stunning. She is
Yeah.
a phenomenal seamstress.
Those kind of things, well, the wedding dress is definitely more special than paperwork, but like the 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 struggle of making those decisions at that point in time, now that those decisions have been made and you've been enjoying your travel lifestyle and seeing some epic places and doing some amazing experiences, it's worthwhile, right? Like you're getting the benefit of doing that to offset the struggle of making those decisions to get rid of that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It was
Yeah.
once it was done, it felt so freeing. What did you guys
Hmm.
think? Did you feel that way?
Well, so let me tell you, having a storage unit is a pain in the ass. And if anybody thinks that they want a storage unit, they need to rethink it,
Yeah.
because we did get a storage unit and we ended up getting a larger one than we actually needed, because when we sold our house and we were on our way to closing, they wanted us to remove our refrigerator. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
Like that you're paying for that in the sale of the house. We don't want it. So
Right.
we had to go move the refrigerator. And so we had to get a bigger storage unit in order to put that in there as well. Flash forward. Well, we gave ourselves 3 years. We said, we'll do this for 3 years. And if we, don't like it at that point, we'll, go back into, we at least had enough to put an apartment or a small condo or something together until we decided what we wanted to do moving forward. And the stuff is still sitting there, and it's still sitting there, except for the refrigerator. We did get rid of it.
We're on year 9 now.
Yes, and it's still sitting there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it takes too much of our time, our precious time, to go through it and get rid of all of it. We don't want to stop long enough to do that. It's easier to keep paying for it than it is to go and get rid of it.
We're currently being taken advantage of
We are.
by our storage facility because we
really are.
We don't need anything that's in there anymore.
And they know it, because they know we don't want to come back and get it out.
And so you guys did the right thing by all means of
I really thought about calling one of those people. I don't even know if they still do that anymore. You remember there was some kind of TV show like 15 years ago that they'd buy your storage unit or auction it off. I'm like, come, just take it, get rid of it for me.
No, it's we've been procrastinators about that for several years now, for sure, and that needs to be an adjustment to our full-time lifestyle, is to get rid of that thing.
I just don't want to go and deal with it.
But that is a good point. And all these things we're talking about, the struggles to make the decisions, the reasons why, storage bins, no storage bins, domicile states, things like that. All of those are aspects of full-time travel that many people are even now just beginning to research and figure out. And these are healthy conversations for anybody that's listening, for sure.
Absolutely. And just like you said, Michelle, we ask our daughter. We have one daughter, one granddaughter, and we ask our daughter. We said, "Okay, anything here that you want? Like, we're doing this. You want to come get anything?" And she's like, "No." And so as I was back, packing up, so she got her stuff, that she wanted for her bedroom or her life like that. But I'm talking about like the keepsakes that we are trained, our age group is trained to keep, because that's what you do. You keep all these memories, you keep all these keepsakes, right? And collectibles or whatever they are. And we're trained that way. So I'm sitting here thinking, oh, she's going to want this stuff. And when I say, hey, well, what about this? What about that? And she's like, I don't want any of that. Like, that's old stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
When you said earlier that you asked your kids and they said they didn't want it, Gina and I looked at each other and smirked, because it's the exact same thing.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether you're from Michigan or North Carolina or wherever. I mean, they
just think differently.
They do. It's the day we're living in,
Yeah.
So real quick, kind of give us the rundown on why you chose South Dakota, and then I want to pivot and talk about your YouTube channel.
Sure. Well, South Dakota, I mean, when we started looking at full time and I was starting to research, because you got to pick a state to domicile, one thing that Michigan is not known for is low taxes.
Right.
So I wanted to pick a state that didn't have an income tax. And usually people pick either Florida, Texas, or South Dakota. And so I only researched those three states. And Florida, I looked at, and they wanted you to be there for 6 months before you could establish a domicile. And their vehicle insurance rates are very high because I don't know, my experience in Florida is people don't know how to drive.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. And then Texas, they want you to come back, I think it was every other year for a vehicle emissions inspection. And I thought, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And South Dakota says, come here, spend one night, prove you spent one night. We'll give you a domicile. You don't have to come back for 5 years.
Wow.
It's like, that sounds like the ticket for me,
Yeah.
for us. So that's actually how we chose South Dakota. I started working with America's Mailbox in South Dakota to help set up the vehicle registrations. Our truck, we initially did have to register in Michigan and pay Michigan sales tax on it just due to the timing of everything. And had it plated, and then we've had it replated since in South Dakota. But the Airstream, we held off for as long as we could. And when I took off the Michigan plate from the guys we bought the Airstream from, I put on a South Dakota plate.
Right.
Yeah, you have to get physically to the DMV.
Yeah.
In a certain amount of time between ordering your license plate and then getting there to change your driver's license.
Yeah.
So
90 days legally.
Right.
So although America's Mailbox says they've never seen anybody prosecuted for taking longer than 90 days.
But
So,
that's the rules.
yeah.
So you
Sure.
you know, you kind of want to
Yeah.
follow those. But they were fantastic to work with. They helped us get all of that done. And then that's our, we have an address there so that if
Mhm.
people need to mail us anything, that's where we receive our mail.
Very good.
And
So
then
that
they
was
ship
great.
it to you wherever you are.
Right, we could do that.
Yeah.
And we have their what's called their titanium package. So as soon as mail comes in, and once you do this, junk mail is filtered out. So you don't
Right.
get junk mail anymore at all.
Yep.
So it's amazing how little mail is important. About once a month, I get an email from them saying, "Hey, a letter, you've received mail," and a scan of the front of the envelope. Then I get to make a decision. Do I want this forwarded to wherever? Do I want them to discard it, or do I want them to open it and scan the inside? And
Mm-hmm.
we've done all of those options, and it's worked out really, really well.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. We're the same way. Everything's electronic now, so we don't even hardly get mail. And when we do, we order it usually once a year to just see what's in there. But all of our junk mail is out too. Like none of that comes.
Yeah, we don't hardly get anything, and that's so liberating.
It is.
It really is.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you guys have a domicile, or how do you do it?
Yeah,
Yes.
we basically very similar to what you said, but we did choose Florida, and
Okay.
yeah, and we are struggling with some of the insurance rates for sure. And over the years since we've been full time, those rates have steadily increased. They were really affordable, actually cheaper than North Carolina rates whenever we first went down there, but they have gone up steadily. And but we still enjoy, no income tax, no vehicle inspections, all that good stuff. So,
right.
It's really good, and
We like it.
yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm.
And the the vehicle hazard insurance and insurance on the Airstream, those are the only bad things. But
It's not bad. It's just higher, but in reality, it's still less than what we paid in North Carolina.
By far, yeah. And no property tax on the vehicles or anything like that in Florida, so that's good. What is funny though is it's not funny that it would be happening, but we have gotten over the years emails and notifications from our insurance company talking about how to be prepared, like when they're talking about storms rolling in, hurricanes, tropical storms, things like that. We get these emails and they're saying, take precautions now, plan ahead, relocate if you can, things like that. And what they don't realize is that our Airstream's not been in Florida in years.
Yeah.
We're not in the path of the hurricane. So, but we're insured down there.
That's funny.
So so let's talk, switch gears and talk about your awesome YouTube channel and just what motivated you to start Airstreamer and all of the fun things you've been doing with that.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start with that. The entrance into YouTube happened quite a few years ago for me. I actually, in my checkered past, I actually was a professional portrait photographer and used to have a storefront photography studio in a small town in Michigan, and did that for about 10 years and got out of it right when the digital revolution happened. So
Oh, yeah.
we've already discussed I'm old. So this would have been in the 1980s that I had the studio, right, the whole decade of the 80s. Then anyway, our friends Gary and Sue, they loop back into the life again. Gary just got this Fujifilm digital camera, and I was really burnt out on photography for decades. And he showed it to me, and something magic happened as soon as that camera went into my fingers. And so then I started playing and started thinking about doing stuff. And so I ended up getting myself a Fujifilm, different model, digital camera, and was having a ball with it. And then COVID hits, everything shuts down, we're all out of work. And so I'm bored. So I start watching YouTube, and pretty heavily. Before, I just was peripherally, you look up something if you can't do it. And so I stumble across these landscape photographers and these, I just say millennials, that are discovering film photography and are dead wrong about how film works and all this. It's it's like, because I basically learned, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but photography knowledge, if you know film, digital makes sense. But if you know digital, film is this uphill slog. You got to learn. It doesn't make sense because it doesn't behave the same. And so I thought, well, I could show people how to do this. So I do one sample video of me going out and photographing the sunrise on Lake Huron, because that's where we were, one of the Great Lakes, and then showed it, uploaded to YouTube, and showed it to my friend, again, Gary, and said, would you watch this? And he said, all day long. And so I started a photography YouTube channel called Vintage Insight Photography. It's still there. I just haven't uploaded anything about a year to it. And had a ball with it and became moderately successful. And then we started doing this little bit of travel stuff, like this road trip and the travel log kind of stuff. When you hit something that's right, I always say it kind of like it makes your heart sing. It's like a sympathetic chord that happens in your being. And it was the travel log stuff that just hit it for me. I had so much fun. And so then we decided to go full-time travel. That's when I said, we really need to start a second YouTube channel and document this and do this. And that's where Airstreamer came from.
Very cool.
So,
well, you can tell just through the quality of your videos and some of your editing style and so forth that you've got a natural talent for it. And it makes sense that if you dealt with all of that prior to just how you take it, you're seeing something with your eye and you're turning that into a photograph, or you're turning that into a video, whatever, you have a knack for it. So good job. It's wonderfully done. Yep.
It is. It's very nice.
Yeah. And
half the video is actually shot by Michelle, so I don't want to take all the credit. So she does do quite a bit.
Yep. And you're having fun with it. I mean, you're
that's the main thing. Are you having fun?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a slog yet at all. Having a ball. Sometimes, you end up with all this footage, right? Well, that's old school talk footage, but you end up with all this video you shot, and it's like, how is this going to be a story? I don't understand. And really, that's a lot of times where Michelle comes in. She'll she'll say, well, you got this and this and this, or, you really need to put these things, combine this to a story. And so, yeah, I guess it's the biggest challenge is to take, because of course you can't just have one camera to shoot with. So I have all this footage from all these cameras, and then I got to combine it all.
Tell them what all you use.
Oh, you still don't have that Fuji? You're not using that
I
Fuji
still have, not the same one anymore. I have I'm 3 cameras down, but I do have a Fujifilm, and the one I have there goes another Airstream down the highway. Look at that. That's a 27. But the one I have doesn't have the features that I fell in love with, which is basically they were identical to a film camera, all the settings and all the dials. This one is more of a digital feel to it. So, but I was deep in the Fuji ecosystem. So yeah, I got a Fujifilm XS10 that I do stuff, and some long lens. So I'll use that sometimes, not incredibly often. I was able to snag a DJI Pocket 2 really cheap off eBay a couple of years ago. So I fiddle with that, but my eyes have gotten worse, and that screen is smaller than a postage stamp.
Yes.
So that's rough. So I just kind of point, and hopefully I'm pointing in the right direction.
Right.
Of course, we both have iPhones, so a lot of the footage is shot on iPhones as well.
Yep.
And then I have an ancient GoPro Hero 3 Black, 3 Plus Black, that does some stuff, or goes into really dicey situations where it's like, this camera might die.
Yeah.
So I don't care. So that, and then I have an older GoPro 8 as well. I've got a drone, but we don't talk about that because it's a 249 gram drone, if you know what that means.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
We got one of those. Yep. We're with you.
So I don't talk about that much. Have I gone through all of them?
I think so.
Yeah. So then each
well,
I have an Insta360 too. Insta360 One RS.
Right. And our now we've got, since he's installed the new camera on the back of the camper, we have used footage off of that camera on the rear. And now before we left, he installed the new Halo View that's got the front camera.
It's got a front camera built into it. So actually the SD card from that is sitting on the table right now, and I'm going to import the footage after we're done talking for the first time and see what the front cam footage looks like, and if I can actually use that, because that just records all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we have definitely a bunch of views.
Yeah.
It sounds like they need an entourage traveling with them just to work all the cameras.
We've got the drone, we've got the iPhones, and we've got a GoPro 8, and but all the rest of the stuff you mentioned we don't have.
And we don't use any of them.
Well, I mean, not the level we should.
Since you do podcasts, right? You're not doing visual stuff. So with your drone, do you just put like black electrical tape over the lens and you fly it?
Yeah.
So you can show the footage on the podcast.
That's right.
Really and truly, what we got our drone for was we were doing some really off-road boondocking, and we got the drone to fly it out ahead of us to kind of see if we were going to get ourselves into some kind of predicament. Yeah.
Or if there was a turnaround spot.
Yeah. So that's what we really got it for. We've used it for a few other things, but not a whole lot. Like we've hosted campouts before where we would fly it up to, get a drone shot of our camp out, but we really haven't used it not a tremendous
amount. We did do a urban Airstream rally in Georgetown, South Carolina, before COVID in 2020, and we did the videography for that rally, and I flew it several times during that. So that's on our YouTube channel. We started out with a YouTube channel, and I wouldn't call gave up on it, but we just let it go dormant after a year or two of it. And,
it was too much work.
It was a lot.
We felt like we were living for the video for that instead of really going out and enjoying ourselves.
So we have, we've got, a year or so of some, halfway decent videos at the early beginnings of our YouTube channel, but now our podcast episodes are just hitting that channel every week as an audio only podcast, as well as being in other locations. But the Riveted Fox YouTube channel is still there, but by no means is it as top quality as yours or others.
Oh, nowhere close
by a long shot.
No.
And we are strong. We are approaching 300 subscribers.
Wow.
And I said approaching.
Yeah.
But we're getting there.
Oh yeah, we're on a roll, baby. We're on a roll.
Yeah.
But we have had some people listening to us and say, hey, why don't you video it? We'd like to see, the interaction and stuff.
Yeah,
So that is on whenever we celebrated our 1 year podcast, we announced that we were going to try that this year. So we haven't done it yet, but we're going to
experiment
with
some
figure that out.
Video podcast. Yeah. I mean, we could be doing that right now together through our recording studio that you're on with us right now. We could turn on the cameras, but that's not really a video that I'm looking for. We're thinking, because that in a way it looks kind of like a Zoom call, which is not really what we're after. So it'll be unique things, but
we'll figure that out, I guess.
Yeah.
With all your cameras, I want to ask this quick little geeky question, I guess, and not to bore the listener, but somebody might be interested in this. So with all of the cameras you have and all the different things you do to capture the video, how do you manage all that data? How do you manage those files and keep it organized? Give me a quick description.
Where does that go, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that took a while to get that figured out. But what I use is, I edit on a MacBook Pro.
Right.
So I've got a little older now, M1 MacBook Pro.
Yep.
And all the video files are stored on external solid state drives. I use the SanDisk Extremes solid state drive. 2 terabyte are the ones I get. 1 year I bought a 4 terabyte one, and they're flaky. So the 2 terabyte ones are solid. So how I break all the footage down is I have it stored in files on the external drive. So like I'll have, for instance, we're actually on a journey where we're going from Crater Lake, where we were from the summer, back to Arizona for the winter. But we're going via Washington, Idaho, British Columbia, back into Washington, down the Oregon coast and California. So it's kind of a shepherd's hook trip. Yeah. And I'm calling this journey Crater to Caverns, because we're going to Kartchner Caverns for the winter. So I have a folder. So I've got like the SD card is labeled 2025 Volume 2, the one I'm putting it on right now, because it's my second 2 terabyte drive for this year. I have a folder in there called Crater to Caverns, and then under that, a subfolder under that, which is going to be each and every one of the stops. Then a subfolder in each of the stops listing all the cameras I shot footage on. Jim's iPhone, Michelle's iPhone, DJI, Pocket, Fujifilm, GoPro 8, GoPro 3, Halo View front, Halo View rear. That's new. So they're all broken into these folders. And so I've got each stop or location is one folder, and then inside of that are separate folders of each camera's footage, and inside of each one of those is all the footage from those cameras.
Yeah. And that's...
So I have it all broken by location, not by date or event that happened.
And then when you... Yeah, and then that's all on solid state externals. And then when you actually edit, do you keep it on the external and edit from the external? Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The USB-C connection and those solid state drives.
Yeah.
I see zero slowdown.
Yeah.
In how those operate and work. The 4 terabyte one will sometimes disconnect. I use DaVinci Resolve Studio for editing. And it'll sometimes, you get this dreaded thing where it says it can't find the footage. So all your footage is these red blocks instead of the little preview. So then I just have to eject the disk and plug it back in, and then it's there. But the 2 terabyte ones never do that. dead solid.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, that's how I've chosen to
that's
organize.
great.
Sometimes in the editing software, then I'll color code the different cameras with different colors, because the color correction is wildly different between all these various cameras, and
Oh,
try
yeah.
to make them look the same.
Makes
So, but then I
sense.
figured out most people can't see that, so I don't spend as much time doing color correction as I used to.
Well, you
That's
got to stop and remember that you have an eye for that,
Yeah.
and the average person watching the video or whatnot's not going to think about that. They're just
Yep.
listening
That's
to the
good.
content or watching the content. Yeah.
Well, and you're definitely putting out great quality stuff. So it's definitely all the work is being recognized, and
It's
that's great
appreciated.
information. And listener, if thanks for hearing that. If you weren't interested, but it's great to hear from somebody that's got an established good quality YouTube presence, how they manage all that, because everybody does it different. And the sometimes I feel like, and we're not dealing with video, just dealing with audio, but I feel like I've got this avalanche of data that I've got to make sure I preserve and keep where it needs to be, and I just sometimes feel like I get suffocated by it.
Suffocated?
Yeah, suffocated.
Suffocated.
Yeah,
That's a strong word. Suffocated.
it is. Yeah, that's probably a little too strong. I shouldn't say suffocated. I'll come up with a
Think of
different
a better word.
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed's a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overwhelmed means I can dig out from it.
Right.
That's good.
Oh my.
All right. Well, we wonderful conversation. We've been chatting it up now an hour, and the time has just flown
Gosh,
by.
it doesn't seem like it.
You guys are
No.
great. Jim, it sounds like you've got like you have a radio voice. Like, have you ever been on radio? Or you definitely have a knack for the chat.
Thanks. Yeah, I have. I've done some radio work. I was fortunate in the 1980s when I had my studio. I did radio ads for the photography studio, and I ended up cutting my own at this radio station. And one of the guys actually stopped me when I was talking and told me actually how to talk and how to speak. And so he did a really quick voice tutorial for me. So that helped.
Very cool.
But yeah, during this wonderful COVID shutdown thing, when we were all like out of work and trying to do things together, you try to stitch things together. What can I do to help bring in money and different things? Because I can't work. I was actually selling kitchen cabinets in Canada, and I couldn't even go across the border. And so I set up a Fiverr account to do voiceover work. And it was kind of weird. I was actually the voice of a few YouTube channels, a Tesla motor channel, and another thing. And I got contacted by a guy out of Poland Cyprus is where he was. And he was a director of photography and hired me to like do his English voiceover. So I was his voice.
How about that?
Like it was Sergei Dmitriev or something like that. And it was fun because he just hired me out of the blue. And I said, this is hilarious, because I knew all the terms he was using. And so I never had to stumble over the pronunciation. But yeah, I did. So I did a bunch of voiceover work, I guess is what I'm saying in the past.
That's good.
Yeah.
I went too deep in the weeds there.
This is very impromptu, but this just popped in my head. I think we're gonna give this a try. Hopefully, it's not an epic fail. But Gina, go ahead and say goodbye to the listener. I'm gonna say goodbye to the listener. Then I'm gonna let Jim wrap up the episode and say goodbye to everybody. How about that? What do you think?
Whatever you want to do,
I think it's gonna be a blast. No pressure, Jim, but you'll do it. You'll
Oh yeah,
be
no
fine.
pressure. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, no pressure.
So Michelle and Jim, thank you guys so much for being on our podcast. Wonderful conversation, and we definitely,
it has been a lot of fun. You guys,
been a lot of fun. Can't wait to meet you in person.
Thanks for opening up here too. We appreciate that.
Yep, for sure.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you. It was great.
And to the listener, thank you so much for continuing to listen to our podcast. Don't forget that we want you on as a guest.
Yeah.
So get in touch with us via our website at therivetedfox.com. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you down the road.
So you just wrapped up. I thought Jim was going to wrap up.
No, Jim's going to wrap up.
Okay, Jim's going to wrap up. All right, now here you go, Jim. 3, 2, 1, go.
And everybody, thanks for listening to the Riveted podcast with Chris and Gina. This is Jim with Airstreamer, and we'll see you down the road.
We've come a long way, and I only say goodbye because, you know, we never say goodbye on a caravan, but we'll be seeing you down the road.